All right, we're back. What's going on? Week 4. We got CU versus Wyoming football. And we got interview with Cody Tucker with 7220 Sports. Stay tuned.
Well, hello, who's next? Can't nobody stop us cause we bumped in prime. Well, hello, who's next? Are you capping, talking sauce, and do your words match your video? Well, hello, who's next? Can't nobody stop us cause we bumped in prime.
Yo, what's going on? It's your guys Buffed and Prime, CT the Fan, T Cal. What's good, bro?
Man, you tell me, you the MC. What we got today?
Man, today we about to tap in. We got Cody Tucker with 7220 Sports. He's going to tell us about Wyoming football. We going to talk CU. Man, we're going to get
All
active.
right, let's bring him on stage. What's going on, Cody?
Hey, fellas. Thanks for having me today.
Absolutely, man. Pleasure having you on.
Same here. Introduce yourself, Cody, to our community. Let them know a little bit about you so we can jump into it.
Yeah, man. Been covering the Wyoming Cowboys now for 7 years. Was born and raised here in Cheyenne. Been all over the place, man. Covered Michigan State for a couple years. Covered the Pittsburgh Penguins for a year. Covered some high school football down in Houston, Texas for a couple more. I was doing the 2-2-2 thing there for a while, so my heart's always been back here at Wyoming, though, and I grew up a huge Wyoming fan and never missed a game for 27 straight years in Laramie. So my heart was always here, man. I'd be watching, I'd be covering a Michigan State, Penn State top 25 game inside Spartan Stadium and watching Wyoming on my cell phone. And it was time, man. It was time to come home. And obviously it's a much different role, not the fan anymore, unfortunately, but a lot of fun. And this is definitely where the heart was.
ProfitX, America's #1 sports prediction market. It's a peer-to-peer sports prediction market where users play against each other instead of a sports book versus the house. You will almost always get the best price on any spread, money line, total, and any player prop since you're playing against other people rather than the book. It looks and feels just like a sports book, but with way better odds. As a CU Buffs fan, you can go toe-to-toe with your friend who's repping Wyoming. Want CU to cover the spread? Lock it in. Think it's going to be a shootout or a grind? Hit the over-under on total points. This is peer-to-peer sports prediction market. ProfitX gives you the best lines in the space. You can set your own odds too. You make your picks and ProfitX takes a small fee from the winner only. Use promo code BuffedInPrime and claim up to $200 in profit cash on all plays for the first 30 days playing on the site. Terms and conditions apply.
That's
like it.
That's
Appreciate
awesome. And Wyoming was actually one of my choices that I was looking into coming out of high school. It was one of my smaller offers, but they had got a lot of guys from Seattle. I'm from Seattle originally.
Okay.
And Chris Tormey was there. And,
yeah.
Chris Tormey was recruiting me there. They had guys like DJ May, Uso Olive. Like there's a lot of Seattle area guys. So I remember looking into Wyoming. It's in Laramie, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
DJ May had quite a deal. He started in the defensive backfield, ended up being a running back. I think he played some linebacker. He did a little bit of everything.
And it's funny because DJ was a star running back in high school. That was what his talk was. And then out of nowhere, he was playing safety at Wyoming. But so I played against Wyoming. I was at the University of Nevada. I played against him when Josh Allen was there.
Sure.
So
that was an ugly night in Reno.
Yeah. Yeah, it was. Yeah,
I think Josh even caught a touchdown in that game.
Yep.
Wow.
Ran over one of the safeties pretty bad. Yeah, I remember that game very well.
Yeah.
But yeah. So tell us some about Wyoming. What's going on now? I know we watched a lot of Wyoming film last year because we were watching North Dakota State week 1. So we were trying to see, what schemes were being brought over. But see, you guys 1-1, or no? You guys have 3 games.
You're 2-1.
Yeah, 2-1, and played Utah pretty tough last week. Played Utah pretty tough last week. So how's things going up there right now?
I tell you, so Jason. Jay Sawbell's in year 2. He's, taking over for Craig Bull, who was on the sidelines here for 10 years, the longest tenured head coach in Wyoming history. And, year 1 was bumpy, 3-9, a lot of reasons for that. in a lot of ways, the rent came due at a lot of positions where they didn't have any depth, especially at the safety spot and linebacker spot, and guys were playing every snap at linebacker and just things like that made it a really tough year. So Jay Sawvell took this offseason to really revamp this entire roster. And, Wyoming hasn't been known to go nuts in the transfer portal. Craig Bull was old school as it gets, and he did not love the portal whatsoever. He really hung his cowboy hat on this being a development program, developing the likes of Josh Allen and Logan Wilson, the starting middle linebacker at Cincinnati, among many, many others. And unfortunately, the portal era just kind of caught up where, you can't replace those guys with high school kids. Yeah. It's too much and it's too many and they're not ready to go. So Jay Sawvell he's always embraced the transfer portal. And, Craig and him had a nice long talk toward the end of a really tough year last year. And Craig basically said, shut up and listen. Like, there's a lot of issues right now mid-season you can't fix. But think about this and put it in the memory bank. And, when you can fix it, get to work. Wyoming beat Washington State in Pullman in the season finale last year. And Jay literally got to work telling some guys to hit the bricks literally the next morning. And, I think fans, fellas, forget a lot that, they always think, oh, this guy's entering the portal. He's leaving for greener pastures. That's not always the case, man. They always forget these coaches can tell you to hit it and tell you to kick rocks. And that's exactly what happened.
Oh, man, that's true. All right.
Yeah, he told some dudes to find a new place. And he really revamped. And he basically said, I'm going to make sure we're never caught with our pants down again. He wanted to be 8 running backs deep. He completely revamped the entire secondary, entire linebacker core. They went from literally the starting 2 last year and really nobody behind them to they could roll 5 guys right now with ease, and they do. And, for instance, last year they played with 17, 18 guys on defense would get snaps during a game. Against Northern Iowa a couple weeks ago, 28 guys played. So very deep on that side of the ball. Obviously, they pitched a shutout in the opener at Akron. And only gave up 7 points against Northern Iowa, and that really was aided by 3 penalties on that one scoring drive. A couple of picks in the red zone. I mean, they're kind of doing all the it's weird. 9 new starters on that side of the ball. You had no idea what to expect and really come out of the gate. And now, don't get me wrong. I know, Northern Iowa and Akron aren't Georgia and Alabama, but to pitch a road shutout anywhere is really big, especially when you have 9 new guys on that side of the ball and their backups are all new. So, and last week against Utah, it's 3-0 Utah at halftime. Wyoming was really bending a lot between the 20s, but they were finding a way. Utah missed 3 field goals. They turned the ball over inside the 10. They had some really big penalties in that game. So, obviously you take those away and you're looking at a hell of a lot worse than 31-6, but really the defense really did their part. And you've probably noticed I haven't said a lot about the offense. They do have 80% of their returning production from last year, which is 4th most in the country, according to ESPN. It just hasn't clicked yet for some reason. Just it seems real clunky so far. And, they only scored 10 points at Akron, and you got to give a lot of credit to Akron's D. You have to give a tremendous amount of credit to Utah's D. That team is stout, and they went 5-7 last year. Kyle Whittingham has been there 21 plus years. He's had 3 losing seasons in that entire time. And one of those was last year at 5-7. So that guy's pissed off and motivated, and that team's pissed off and motivated. So they showed it. They're going to be a tough out in the Big 12. I might be crazy, but I feel really bad for Texas Tech this weekend. I think they're going to get absolutely whomped on. Utah's really that good. But, Caden Anderson, Wyoming's quarterback, he was Quinn Ewer's backup at South Lake Carroll High School in the Metroplex in the Dallas area. And, he had the big schools all over him, too, until he suffered back-to-back torn ACLs. Wyoming stuck with him the whole time. He's here. But the reality of it is, fellas, he tore 2 ACLs in high school and didn't play his first year in Laramie. He's played sparingly last year and got his first start in, I think, week 9, week 10 last year. He started 6 total games. So I think it's easy to lose sight of that kind of stuff sometimes where fans are really on him right now. But, I mean – and against Northern Iowa, by the way, he gets hit by a corner blitz he doesn't see coming and has to go to the hospital for further testing. We didn't know if he was going to play last week. So, tough kid. But there's been spurts. There's been really good spurts of a running attack. Chris Durr Jr. is an incredible wide receiver. John Michael Gillenborg, the tight end, he'll hear his name called in April for sure. Just a really veteran-laden offensive line.
Yeah, CT, what questions you got?
So how would you describe the identity of the 2025 Wyoming football team and over the last 3 weeks? Like when you see Wyoming on the schedule based on the last 3 weeks, what's the identity of this team, would you say?
I'd say it's the moniker they all use, and it's painted all over the place, and they wear it on their T-shirts. It's Cowboy tough, especially on that defensive side of the ball. Kyle Whittingham probably gives you the best compliment you could ever get after last week's game, where he was like, I have a lot of respect to that team. They're tough, and they have a really bright future. And I think that pretty much says it all. It's just if the offense – we expected the offense to be way ahead of the defense, and it's been vice versa. I know Aaron Bull, the defensive coordinator, was really frustrated during the spring because his defense was so far behind the offense, and that was really hard to take watching his guys get beat every day. And something clicked, man. They did a really good job in the portal. They brought in like 24 new guys and then also another 26 or so freshmen. So Wyoming's also, with the development part, they're taking full advantage of the fact that, I don't know how many guys Colorado pulls in their freshman classes, but so many schools like Colorado just go straight portal that Wyoming's really reaping the benefits of getting some really good freshmen. And nowadays, you can't really, if a guy's ready to go, you can't really redshirt him anymore.
Yeah, that's the transfer portal.
And that's become that's been nice, man. The Cowboys have some really nice freshmen on this team. Samuel Tote Harris is a guy you guys will see on Saturday, running back. Another story of a guy who tore his ACL, and Utah was on him. A lot of other big schools were on him, and they fell off when he tore that ACL. He runs a 10-2 100-yard dash.
Is that 26?
Yeah.
Like him a lot.
Freaky
like
fast.
Him a lot. Yeah.
So he's a kid, man. He's 18 years old. So
yeah,
that's the benefit. So Wyoming can reap, I think, while other schools are worried about the portal.
Yeah, and I didn't know because I had the depth chart pulled up. I didn't see him on there, but I was watching film. I didn't know the 10-2, but I saw he can fly. Can't let him get vertical at all. Like he can really roll. Another running back I really like is Teron Kelman, number 5. Looks really good. I mean, you guys have a great stable of running backs. Like I think I've seen on film from the first few games, 4 to 5 running backs get carries. And all of them look good and have different type of running styles. I think the most explosive are Kelman and 26 for sure. Got really good shiftiness, and Colorado struggles to stop the run. That's something that's pretty evident by now. I think gave up 300 rushing yards week 1 or something just astronomical. So that's definitely going to be a worry on the Colorado side. Colorado has get probably less than 10 freshmen each year from high school. They do get some really good freshmen. They have a freshman defensive end who played really great last week, Alexander McPherson, number 98. Expect him to potentially get a start this week as a true freshman. But outside of that, did hit the transfer portal heavy. Got a Wyoming guy, Tyrekus Davis, who transferred over. They haven't played him much. But, in the day of the transfer portal, it's just a completely different ball game than it used to be. Like when I was playing, you were stuck on a team. Like there's no way you could transfer. Otherwise, you'd have to go down a division, which I had to do when I finally transferred. I had to go to FCS. Not division, but a level in order to be eligible immediately. But now guys can be eligible a lot quicker.
You didn't want to play for Jay Norvell?
No. I probably would have wanted to play for him more than Brian Polian, though. That was the worst of the worst. So it's a lot different now for sure.
Yeah, man, I think when you talk about the running game, I think that's the Cowboys are going to lean heavy on that this week, especially. You're not the only one who's seen those stats, so we'll put it that way.
So that's what I got to ask. Is the quarterback involved in the running game?
It hasn't looked right yet. And the guy's not a sitting duck by any means. He does have that bulky brace, on his right knee that's been surgically repaired twice. But he's way more – they don't want him running a lot. We can put it that way. They don't want that. But they do run some RPO, not a lot. It hasn't been very successful yet this year. And we talked about it on my show yesterday. I just think he's kind of like tripping a lot. And it's just not looking right. He looks like he's maybe like his feet are moving a little faster than his brain, or vice versa. It's just not looking fluid yet at all. So I wouldn't consider him necessarily a crazy running threat, but he'll go pick you up a first down or two a game with his legs if he has to. So they don't want him doing that. And like you said, they have such a good stable. Sam Scott's the starting running back. He's every bit of 6'2", 230, big ass running back, big guy. And he's a senior, and he tore up Akron pretty good in the open. They can really give it to anybody. And I think this week, I would expect there's been a lot of 8 carries, 7 carries distribution the last couple of weeks. The first week, Sam Scott had 29. I think they're going to really find a way to level that out and maybe start focusing on who's that guy that we're going to give 20 carries to. And right now, I would say it's easy to point at Sam Harris, who was just named the Mountain West Freshman of the Week, the young true freshman out of Texas. He touched the ball 11 times and racked up 105 yards against Utah.
He scares me the most by far. He scares me the most because you get a lot of speed guys, especially at the running back position, but they have tight hips. Like they're running straight and that's it. But he's agile. He's able to make lateral cuts, then put his foot in the ground and get vertical. So to be shifty and have that type of top end speed, that's extremely dangerous. And I will have to say I'd be wary of that Texas Tech. Texas Tech is loaded as far as Utah. I think Utah's gonna have their hands full with that one. Texas Tech's D line, absolutely, like they won the transfer portal, I think, out of any team in college football. Like the guys that they went, guys they went and got is insane. Like it's an all-star team. So
don't get me wrong. I hope Texas Tech whips their ass, but I feel like Utah is so physical, and it like sets them apart from the rest of the Big 12. The rest of the Big 12 outside of BYU, unfortunately, because they're very physical as well. But they're just so tough across the board. All 3 levels of their defense, they were really impressive. In 2009, I want to say Texas came in here with Colt McCoy and played in Laramie. That was one of the biggest comparisons after this game. Because Wyoming beat Texas Tech in Laramie a couple years ago. They beat Missouri in 2019. Nebraska's been here. Virginia, Ole Miss. I mean, Wyoming does a great job of getting these big schools to come play in Laramie.
That's
tough. Yeah, that's not easy to do for a Mountain West school.
Especially the highest elevated Mountain West school, and you have to land in Denver. I mean, you have to drive all the way from Denver.
Wow. That's wild.
I can't even think of a big school we ever had come to Reno, because we played Florida State at Florida State. We played UCLA at UCLA. Like we always went there outside of the conference games.
Not to pile on Nevada by any means, but man, that stadium's it's really bad. It's
not an ideal stadium. We had we had Washington State. We beat Washington State. That was my really like my first start in college football as a freshman. Against Washington State, Friday night game.
I think Purdue played in Reno like 4 or 5 years ago, and they had a walk-off kick against them.
Yeah, they had a home and home with Purdue. But all right, CT, what we got?
We keep talking about the running game and the running back, so got to tell me about the trenches, the offensive line, where it all starts. How's Wyoming offensive line looking?
So another thing I think that's easy for fans to pass over, and it really can sound like an excuse, but I mean, you'd be able to speak to this probably better than anyone here. Wyoming does have 3 returning offensive linemen, all in the middle there, the center, both guards. However, the center was a guard last year, and the new right guard was the right tackle last year. So even though those cats have been here for 4 years, I mean, they're learning a new position, and I think it's easy to forget that and overlook that when things aren't going right. You go, those guys have been here. Those guys have had 30-some starts. But I think it's a lot different when your hands on the football and you're snapping the football and then you're playing inside instead of worrying about outside edge rushing at the tackle spot. So they do have 2 really young tackles, including Nate Geiger, who he played all of 10 snaps last year. He won the job out of camp, played all of 10 snaps against Arizona State in the opener last year and tore his ACL. So he's basically starting over from scratch, and he had a tough tough Saturday night, and a lot of people will when they're facing John Henry Daly from Utah. The guy's an absolute freak defensive end, and a lot of times when Nate found himself one-on-one with that guy, he's the guy who sacked Wyoming right out of field goal range in the first. He's the guy who strip sacked Caden Anderson right there in the second near midfield. That guy's he's leading the country in sacks. And so, I mean, there's some, you talked about that defensive end from Colorado. That's, they need to get Nate some help on the outside. But other than that, man, they are veteran. They're big. They're bigger than ever. I believe everybody on the line's over 305, which, that's kind of rare at a group of 6 school to have. And they're all 300 plus on the defensive front too, for the most part, in the trenches anyway, at the defensive tackle spot. So big guys, they can move the pile. They've been doing okay at pass blocking so far, but it's just, like I said, guys, it's just been really clunky on that side of the ball early on. And I think they're getting to know, it's just it's been kind of a slower process than I think any of us expected.
So you guys expected the offense to start fast and the defense to come along.
Yeah.
What about it that made you think the offense was going to be able to start fast?
Well, they returned almost all their production from last year. And Jay Sawvell talked about it in the offseason. He made a list of 10 guys that he couldn't afford to lose to the transfer portal. And he says he kept 9 of them. And a lot of those guys on that side of the ball, John Michael Gillenborg, the tight end I talked about, he was receiving 6-figure deals to go to big schools, very big schools.
Yeah, it's different. Yeah.
Yeah, and he decided to stay, and a big reason for that is he didn't want to leave it at 3-9 from a year ago. His relationship with the coaches, including the head coach, and to be honest, say you go to Notre Dame, you might be 4th, 5th, 3rd, whatever on the depth chart at tight end. He's got a pretty good thing going at Wyoming, and every night, every Saturday, the stands are packed, and it's the best atmosphere in the Mountain West Conference. So. There's a lot of reasons to stay that people don't think about. And the guy saw the forest through the trees. He does what he needs to do. He's going to make a hell of a lot more than 6 figures. So, I think that was kind of his mindset. And then it becomes a trickle down effect with the other seniors. Like, why would we leave? What? There's no guarantees on the other side. And also I think, fellas, we're starting to see that there's becoming these cautionary tales of and Tyrekus Davis isn't a fair example because he was one of those guys that the Diego Pavla thing or whatever, where, he was a JUCO guy starting, so he got an additional year. Wyoming didn't expect him back anyway. They thought he was out of eligibility. So, but we've seen plenty of guys go on to bigger and better things, and they don't play.
That's true.
Last week, you guys didn't hear the name Keone Parks for Houston. He was one of Wyoming's starting corners last year. He goes to Houston. I don't even think he's left the bench yet. And Wyoming starting nickel's the one who picked off Staub at the end of the game in Houston last week, Rook Brown. He's a guy Wyoming lost in the portal, but he had a family thing, and he's from Texas, and he wanted to get closer to home. But you're not seeing a lot of these success stories when they go elsewhere. There are a few, but not many. So I think they're really starting to use that as a cautionary tale.
Gotcha.
Yeah, man. That's so. Moving back to the defensive side, linebacker Evan Eller, 12 total tackles against Utah.
Yeah.
Is he that guy on the defensive side?
He really is, and it's crazy to see that because what you guys are going to notice, and you've probably noticed looking at the roster, Evan Eller is from the Virginia Military Institute, where he played safety. And last year he came here, played 4 games, went to the coach's office and said, I want a red shirt. I have more to give this program, but I want a year of getting ready and getting bigger and stronger and more into this defense, knowing the playbook front and back. Plus Wyoming had 2 starting senior linebackers, and he wasn't going to play much. So he decided to redshirt, which, I mean, you're a player, you were a player, how, I mean, I can't even imagine going to a coach and being like, I don't want to play.
Yeah.
I want to sit out this year, and I want to do all the hard shit, but I don't want to play.
Don't want to get any benefits from it.
Yeah. And then you'll notice Braden Johnson, who's also tied for the team leading tackles. He spent the last 3 years at Oklahoma Baptist. They got 2 guys from Riverside City College, a guy from Southern Illinois, Desmond Hearns, who's had a turnover in the last 2 games. So what we're getting at here is they don't care anymore what school you came from. They had a guy here, a defensive end, who looked like Tarzan for sure, and he played at Alabama, or he went to Alabama first, and was from the Houston area, had all the stars behind his name. He stayed in Laramie 2 years. He never saw the field one time. So the days of, oh yeah, that guy went to Alabama, sign him.
No.
That's over. And
it's
honestly,
not over for Colorado.
Fortunately,
that's the problem. They see SEC and just get drawn to it, and that's why I created my website Bips List, where I've been able to shed light on the guys that don't come from the big schools that can really ball. The biggest example is D'Angelo Pons, cornerback from James Madison a few years ago, 2 years ago, and I told everyone, I say, this is the best corner in the portal, might be the best corner in college football. He was a true freshman. Now he's at Indiana. Now he's a consensus All-American and first-round draft pick, but he's 5'9", 170. So everybody overlooked him. Everyone's like, oh, well, JMU, that's almost FCS. And if you can play, you can play. And it's good to see that coaches aren't relying on the star system's flawed, because you mess up with the stars in high school, and that stays with you. If you're a 5-star in high school, you're not going to be below a 4-star in the transfer portal. It's not how it works. Sometimes mistakes were made. That guy really wasn't as good as he was thought to be before. And I think JUCO is going to start playing a bigger part.
I agree,
because I've watched a lot of JUCO film. The best cornerbacks, like overall, that I saw this past portal were from JUCO over these big schools, and they can play. But people say, "Oh, well, I don't know about the competition." And hey, if you know what you're looking at, trust your eyes. So I love hearing that they're getting guys from Riverside, they're getting guys from Southern Illinois, because there's ball players everywhere. You just have to know where to look.
Well, let me raise you one. A guy you played against, Josh Allen.
Oh yeah, he was JUCO, right?
Yep, JUCO, 0-star guy, and he's a big reason. Wyoming goes this way. I mean, they ran a Super Bowl ad. They bought a Super Bowl ad for $2 million. The University of Wyoming did this year. And the whole premise of the thing is this is where underdogs are made. And Josh Allen is the perfect example of a Wyoming Cowboy, of a guy who was completely overlooked, left for dead, including Fresno State, which was his school growing up right down the road. Wow. And he came to Wyoming, and the rest is history. So a lot of guys like that. And I tell you what, Kenny Dillingham, even though he's a super young head coach, Jay Sawvell has a lot of respect for him. And he basically said, how did you remake this Arizona State roster and turn it into a college football playoff team? And he said, you have to find guys who live it, breathe it, eat it, sleep it. And it does not matter where they came from. Find guys that don't just say they have a chip on their shoulder. Find a guy from Oklahoma Baptist who's never played a football game in front of more than 1,000 people in the crowd, never been in the newspaper, never cared about, who just will run through a wall. And you would know they put the GPS systems in your shoulder pads during off-season workouts and during practice. Nobody on Wyoming's football roster ran for more yards, steps, miles than Wyoming's linebacker, their outside linebacker, Braden Johnson, who's also, oh, by the way, 6'4", 250 pounds.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Insane.
Talk about a chip on his shoulder. That guy, but before they played Akron's head coach Joe Moorhead said, they replaced a bunch of guys on the defense with a bunch of smaller school kids. And he wasn't saying it to be derogatory or mean or anything like that. Braden Johnson just went, okay. And that was his first ever game at the FBS level. He finishes that night with 9 tackles and picks off their quarterback in the end zone, thwarting their only scoring opportunity the entire night. And that guy plays with a chip. He plays pissed off. And this defense, there's a lot of those guys. There's a lot of absolute dogs that were completely overlooked, and here they are.
Yeah, I'm looking at safety Andrew Johnson. What's his deal? He had 12 tackles against Utah also.
Yeah, the beauty about a guy like Andrew Johnson, who, just for transparency's sake, his father is my photographer for my website, and he is from Cheyenne. He went to my high school here in Cheyenne. And what I love about him and Jones Thomas, the 2 starting safeties, they completely revamped that room in the offseason. Those dudes were on the team last year. They hardly ever played. If you would have told me that the 2 starting safeties this year were already on the roster, I would have said, yeah, right. There's no chance. But bringing in all that competition raised these cats' levels. And to see those two starting when last year they were left for dead is really a cool story that I think not enough people are talking about. They brought in dudes galore. I mean, I'm talking like 9 new guys on the back end of that secondary. And those two rose to the top, and they stole those jobs.
Man, that says a lot because you got active against Utah. How do you feel like that Utah loss, even though it was a loss, it was going to help them prepare for the Buffs this Saturday night?
So, we talked about it on my show that, if you looked at this schedule before the season started, you would definitely say the Cowboys need to go 2-2 in non-conference. You've got to take care of Akron. You've got to take care of Northern Iowa. Utah's a steep hill to climb. Colorado's a steep hill to climb. So that's kind of where your mindset is. And it's just, I think we said with this Utah game, even though they probably aren't going to win it, it needs to look right. Mm-hmm. And I think it looked right in a lot of ways on defense. It didn't look right on offense. So it's one of those kind of weird. Everybody's really proud of that effort from the defense. They gave up a bunch of yards, didn't give up a bunch of points. Utah held onto the ball for 35 minutes of that, 35-30 of that game, which I saw Houston did the same thing to CU. They just strangle you to death, and you can't get the ball back, and there's nothing going. So I think there's a lot of positives you can take from that. And believe it or not, there were a few glimmers of hope on offense. They're not as easy to find. You have to kind of look hard for them. But a 32-yard wheel route to Sam Harris out of the backfield, for instance.
Please don't say the wheel route.
Yeah, I think that's the second, because I've been watching the explosive plays. That one of the most explosive plays that Wyoming's had so far. They had a condensed formation to the boundary. And only reason they didn't go for more is because it wasn't the best route concept and had
2 guys next to each other.
Yeah, so then that let more defenders be there. Other defenders aren't there. That's a touchdown.
No doubt. It was a beautiful throw, beautiful catch. To see a true freshman running back do that downfield like that, over the shoulder catch.
And that's good. Something that Colorado struggles with significantly because of their refusal to get out of man coverage. So going from those condensed formations and sneaking the running back out, because I saw Utah safety. I don't know if he had the running back. They ended up running into each other just bad on their end. But that's what happens when you play man coverage against condensed formations and you're able to get the running back out there. So I'll definitely be interested to see how Wyoming tries to utilize his speed and get him in, one-on-one situations in space.
How much do you guys feel that Colorado, from the outside looking in, I look at it and go, man, I don't know what college in this country could replace Shedeur Sanders and Travis Hunter. Mm-hmm. How much of what's happening to their offense and their defense is just the matter of those two guys not being around anymore? I mean, those guys cured a lot of ills.
I would say not much. So there's a receiver. Might get to see him. We just don't know. Sincere Brown for Colorado. Mm-hmm. He's 6'5", 190, and has been clocked at over 23 miles an hour.
Yeah.
He's a true 4-3 guy with elite route running, elite twitchiness. Against Delaware, he had over 100-something yards. Great receiver. The scheme has been preventing him from being utilized correctly. And then you have Caden Salter, who had 44 touchdowns 2 years ago, third most in college football, has probably the strongest arm in college football. Go back to the Georgia Tech game. Without stepping into it, he threw a 70-yard bomb on the money that the receiver just stopped running for. Otherwise, he would have caught it, and that would have tied the game against Georgia Tech in the fourth quarter. So great arm talent, great skill set. But, musical chairs happened, and Colorado decided to keep rotating quarterbacks. So you have the talent to continue, but it's not being utilized correctly, which is perfect timing for Wyoming, because you're catching Colorado where Colorado doesn't have an identity. They don't know what they want to do. Last year, it was the offense was, hey, let's try to get the ball to Travis. That's just point blank what it was.
Offense was, yeah.
I mean, Coach Frank came out and said it in the post game for Texas Tech. They let Texas Tech back in the game up 3 possessions because they keep throwing the ball. And they asked, why did you keep throwing the ball there instead of, running the ball, trying to, get the clock out? And he said, we wanted to get Travis over 100 receiving yards. That was the MO last year. Defensively, they lost Travis Hunter, but they also lost who I believe was the best corner last year, was a redshirt freshman named Colton Hood, transferred to Tennessee, won SEC Defensive Player of the Week 1. Since then, he's just against last week against Georgia, was the highest graded corner in college football, has allowed 5 passing yards so far.
Wow.
And he was on the bench last year. He got a start against Arizona, played against T-Mac, the number 8 draft pick from Arizona, completely shut him down. Didn't get a start the rest of the year. Had the interception to keep them in the Arizona or the Kansas State game. But yeah, didn't get on the field. So he's gone as well. So now they have who they believe is a solidified corner with DJ McKinney, but the other side's just rotating. The big thing on defense is the safety play. Shiloh Sanders was a hell of a safety. Cam Silman Craig, the other safety, was a hell of a safety who covered for so many of Colorado's blunders up front. Like if a linebacker missed the gap, he was the strong safety. So he's always making the linebackers right, making the DNs right if they're not containing. So they lost a lot of key pieces there, and they didn't, again, recruit well as far as the transfer portal. Got a bunch of SEC guys that hadn't played. Then they had a really good defensive tackle with Chidozie Nwankwo, who they did not replace, a real stout nose tackle who didn't get moved on double teams, was able to shock and shed and make plays. If you watch any of the film, the defensive tackles are getting walked 3-4 yards down the field consistently. So that's really the reason that Colorado isn't having anywhere near the success that they were before. Is last year they didn't have a good scheme either, but you had Travis Hunter. So Travis Hunter was able to bail you out of a lot of plays and a lot of situations you shouldn't have been in. And then on defense, they were like, hey, we're just going to play man coverage all the time. And you had more talent to do that, but you don't have that this year. So those are the things that's really the problem with having an identity for a program when it comes to scheme. You have to adjust your scheme based on who you have. You can't just say, hey, I like playing man coverage, so we're always just going to play man coverage. Like if you don't have the personnel to do that, you can't do that. You have
you were Deion Sanders.
Completely different freak athlete. Or through that corner, like those guys don't. There's a reason he's the greatest of all time. Yeah. So that's pretty much the issue right now is scheme and personnel. So I mean, you couldn't really have a better time. Who doesn't want to play a team in the middle of a quarterback controversy? Sure. That is the best time to get a team. So I think Wyoming definitely has some stuff they can take advantage.
How much, fellas, do you guys credit? Maybe you said they didn't do as well in the portal and stuff. How much credit should go to the fact that Deion Sanders was battling cancer and wasn't around?
He's not really involved in the recruiting process. Or the evaluation process. No, not much. So the receiver, Sincere Brown, that I just told you about, he came from Campbell University. I'm the reason he got to Colorado. I sent him I have Prime's number. I got there. I sent him directly to Colorado. Colorado wasn't looking at him. As soon as he hit the portal, I watched his film. I said, oh my God, send him over there. And instantly Michigan offer, like his offer list just blew up instantly. But yeah, he's not very involved in the recruiting process. He has a team of recruiters and director of player personnel. He tells them what he wants as far as the size. He wants corners over 5'11". He wants running backs under 6 foot and so forth. And then he just trusts them to go out and get what he's looking for.
Wow. Interesting.
Yeah. Different.
It's different. Yeah. What isn't different?
Yeah.
That's the better question. What's not different?
Yeah. So that's pretty different. But yeah, so I know he had the health issues and stuff, but that's just not a process that he's very involved in. He trusts his guys to go out and get the specifics that he's looking for.
Yeah, I agree. And the reason I brought up, like, is your quarterback mobile? Will your quarterback run? We scouted Houston quarterback last week. This kid had no design runs.
Yeah.
CU shows up. Here he goes. He just take off running because it's something, playing that man coverage. A mobile quarterback becomes a serious problem for us. And so that's why I was like, let me find out if that quarterback can get active. Can he run?
I think the backup can run a little bit better.
He can.
14, yeah.
He's another guy who tore 2 ACLs at the JUCO level, and
Good.
Wyoming's just finding all those torn knees and saying, "Come
Hey, come to Laramie." That's funny, man. That's funny.
That is wow. Who's a couple? Oh, what?
Oh no, you got it.
Who's a couple players under the radar for Wyoming that you should might look out for? Somebody,
I don't know if he's under the radar per se. I know you've seen this guy on film. Number 13, Chris Durr Jr., slot receiver. He is another guy, lightning quick, kid out of Chicago. He played last year as a true freshman, and he's the leading receiver right now. He's averaging right now about 100 yards a game.
Is he the one that had the slot fade touchdown against
Northern Iowa?
Yeah.
Yep. Not a big guy by any stretch, but man, he can flat fly. And if he makes one guy miss, you're talking about the one-on-one stuff on the outside. He makes one guy miss, he's goner. So he's really good. It's kind of hard under the radar. I'm trying to think of what a coach would say of a guy watching film and saying this guy's under the radar. I don't think they're going to be surprised by Chris Durr Jr. at all. He's really good, but that's where if John Mike Gillenborg's healthy, which he sustained a thigh bruise last week against Utah. And he's supposed to. They anticipate him playing, but he's the guy who should be. I mean, if he has the year he could have, you could be looking at a Trey McBride type of guy. So he, who do you cover when you have him on the field and Chris Durr on the field at the same time? It's kind of pick your poison. And Akron did. They decided to shut down Gillenborg, and Chris Durr went nuts. And the next week against Northern Iowa, they both got theirs. And last week, Chris Durr was pretty much the only thing working. So, with J. Mike on the sideline with that thigh bruise. So. On the defensive side of the ball, though, nickelback Desmond Hearns, he's the guy I was talking about that's from Southern Illinois. The nickelbacks have really been advantageous here and been they've been the leading turnover guy. They've been involved in all the action in Wyoming's defensive scheme, and that's Rook Brown, the guy who picked off Staub last week to end that game. He was a nickelback here, really small in stature, not a big dude whatsoever, but he led the team last year with 3 picks. The year prior to that, he had 5 picks, I want to say. So that's a really active. He's more physical than all the guys they've had in the past. And he's a guy who he picked off a pass against Northern Iowa, and then he stripped a Utah receiver inside the 10-yard line last week. So he's starting to get more involved and starting to get more active and starting to create turnovers. So he's a guy who maybe you could overlook in that Wyoming secondary a little bit, but he's not going to be a hidden kind of guy for long, and he probably isn't already. He's a really physical guy, and he takes a lot of pride in his hitting and his tackling ability. And another guy, too, I guess I can bring up, he didn't play a lot against Colorado last year, which is odd. He ended up being the second leading tackler on North Dakota State's roster last year. Enoch Sibomana, he is a linebacker for the Cowboys. They got him in the portal. He's actually from Fargo, via Africa, of course, but he's from Fargo, played 4 years at North Dakota State, won a couple of national titles, and he's kind of positionless. It's weird. He can play safety, he can play nickel, he can play linebacker, and they've really been using him at linebacker.
Wow. He can
hit, man.
Wow.
He can hit. And, he only started half the year last year for the Bison and was their second leading tackler, so he's very involved. Saw him early in fall camp lay a couple guys out, and it was like, you're waiting for the coach to come screaming across the field and be like, why are you hitting your own guys like that? And they didn't. They loved it.
Awesome. Yeah, that's awesome to hear. Yeah, I think some of what you're talking about as far as offense, the Colorado struggles tackling. I don't know if you're aware of that, but
I am.
It's been a lot of missed tackles.
I'm very aware of that.
So when you talk about the guys in space, now as far as the slot, if the slot isn't in motion, Colorado's nickel, we trust him one-on-one.
Is that Hodges?
Yeah. Preston Hodge, yeah. Trust him one-on-one against anyone. Now, what teams have done, which is smart to do against man coverage, is they get them into stack situations where you're playing in and out, you're playing a banjo, and you're going against their man rules. So you're having a guy fake like he's running a wheel and then come back in underneath on a slant. or you're doing option routes. Like those are what kill guys in man coverage in the slot. But as far as just slot fades in general and just, just static routes, he's going to be good there. But I'm sure if Wyoming's coaches know what they're doing, they're going to find ways to attack your man coverage, attack your man rules, and exploit it, whether that be bunches, stacks, etc. Make you get out of man coverage. And I mean, I was hoping this would be an easier game. Then I turn the film on and I'm seeing the running backs, and I'm like, okay, I already know how this game's gonna go. I haven't got to Wyoming's defense yet, but
that seems like it might be the stronger side of the field, the defense.
That's
man. And
so, another thing, fellas, a secret weapon, if you will, maybe in this is Wyoming's running back coach is Gary Harrell, who obviously was at Colorado last year. He was at Jackson State with Dion before that. I did a one-on-one with him this week, and he made it no secret. This one's been circled, and he wants this. I mean, he got replaced by Marshall Falk, a guy who, to my knowledge, has zero coaching background whatsoever. And Gary Harrell is Gary Harrell. He's spilling the company secrets, whatever he's got.
He was the assistant head coach. He wasn't just a running back coach. He was assistant head coach. And, that's for another one. I'm not a believer in hiring guys with zero coaching experience. Just because you're a great player does not mean you can coach. It does not. I've been around college football Hall of Famers coaching. I've been around NFL coaches. It does not mean that you can really coach. So, and that's interesting to see his running backs doing so. I forgot that. I keep forgetting that he's there because the running backs look great. Now, I do have to watch more film. Looks pretty vanilla as far as what they're running on offense. A lot of GY power, pulling the guard and pulling the tight end. Something that I don't see much though is they'll pull the tight end even when he's in an inline position, not even just slicing them from a Y off.
You might be familiar with Wyoming's OC too. I don't know how long you've been covering Colorado, but Jay Johnson was there with Mel Tucker. He was his offensive coordinator, older as well before going to Michigan State.
Yeah. Okay. Got you. Yeah. And I wasn't sure because Colorado last year, the fans were talking about hiding plays against North Dakota State. You can't hide plays when you win by however many it was, 4 points or whatever. But I do know when you blow teams out, then you can, say, hey, let's just stick with this. So pretty vanilla from the run scheme. And vanilla is not always bad. That's a misconception that people have. If it's working and they're struggling to stop it, keep running it. So I see that pretty even from what I've seen on gap scheme, in zone stretch scheme. You got the gap scheme, the more gap scheme running back, I would say, with the starter 230, 6'2". But then you got the stretch guys, the guys that can really and that's the thing I like about 26 as well. He can run through the tackles too. Like he'll stretch you out, but then if he sees the gap, he's going to put us from the ground. Same with 5. So offensively, I think they're going to pose a real threat. Now, quarterback wise, he's a little tick behind on his throws. Some of the hitches, he's waiting until they're open. Don't see the consistent anticipation that you really want to see, especially on the timing concepts. Has enough arm to get there, but I can see that his confidence isn't fully there yet.
He
hasn't really,
we ran into that to Houston last week. Quarterback didn't have confidence.
Yeah,
and they played us.
Yeah, I said it. Who did we watch them play? We watched them play Rice.
Rice.
And he had some runs, and I'm like, he's getting a little confident on these. It's late in the game. I was like, it's starting. I was like, I hope he doesn't catch fire this week. And he caught fire. So yeah, that'll be interesting to see. But there's nothing exotic really about the offense. Especially against zone teams, they're going to try to use spacing concepts, get guys in space. They want routes over the middle, obviously. Some deep digs, some deep stops, which is smart football, especially when you're trying to get your quarterback settled and get him right.
Yep.
So offensively, I think the run game, as I'm sure you know, is going to be heavily relied upon, and that's Colorado's glaring weakness right now. And then we just have to see what they got on defense. You got any more questions for us on Colorado?
Well, I'm just kind of diving in as we speak. Obviously looking at the numbers, from an outsider's perspective, you look at the numbers and you go, man, 200 plus yards a game on the ground. Cowboys have to establish that run early. The missed tackles have to do that, especially in front of 55,000, a game that's been sold out for 2 months. Last week the game plan was to obviously get the run game going and milk the clock, which is exactly what Utah did instead. And, Utah was strangled Wyoming so bad last week. Wyoming ran 7 plays in the third quarter. And, the offense wasn't doing much, but you got to get them the ball back. And they gave up a 3rd and 21 late in the third quarter that just made Coach Sawville's head explode.
Demoralizing.
Yeah, you knew that was – I write a story after every game called The Turning Point, and that 100%. Even though Wyoming's offense wasn't doing a lot, you got to try. You got to get them the ball back.
Yeah.
And that was a killer, and it was just a missed assignment by a corner and made them pay. And that one was brutal. But, it worked out about as good as it could for the Cowboys early on because you want to muddy those games up when you're a hefty underdog. And the fact that Utah went into the locker room with a 3-0 lead after missing all those field goals and the penalties, and it couldn't have gone any better for Wyoming as far as that goes. And you really started to get some Texas Tech and some Missouri vibes from when Wyoming upset them in Laramie. But Utah is on another level, man. They're just they're so big and they're so physical and they're so strong, and they're expecting that from Colorado as well. Publicly, they're expecting that from Colorado, but I guarantee they're doing what you're doing right now, and they're watching the film, and we can exploit that. And they know Colorado's got athletes galore. So, when you have athletes like that can make up for some mills. But that their plan is to try. I have no doubt their plan is to try and run it down their throat.
Yeah, I mean they'd be stupid not to. Like you've seen what other teams have done, you've seen what they've had success for, and we talk about it a lot. Like I think you're a stupid coach if you don't steal what somebody else has had success with.
Yeah,
like there's no way you should be too prideful to say, "Hey, we saw this work against them. This is something we need to implement against them. Do this exact." So I'm sure that there's gonna be that going on. So yeah.
So Texas Tech jumped out to a 17-0 lead in Laramie that night 2 years ago. Joey McGuire just kept throwing the ball and kept throwing the ball. And they had Taj Brooks in the backfield who ended up being the leading rusher in America that year. They just refused to run the ball. So Tyler Shuck throws a ball all the way, from the far hash to the sideline. It gets picked off by Houston's Rook Brown, and Wyoming just turns it on and finds a way to win that thing in double overtime. So, some bonehead stuff like that, I guarantee Joey McGuire thinks about that on a daily basis. I bet that what the hell was I doing? We should have just put the ball on the ground and ran.
Yeah, I mean, it's same thing Texas Tech did against Oregon, because Texas Tech should have upset Oregon. I think that was
same year.
Games after, definitely should have upset Oregon, and they ended up throwing like a pick six late in that game when they did not have to. It's like why? So as far as the outcome of this game, I think it's going to be a tough one. But just like I said last week, I said if Houston gets a 10-0 lead, it's pretty much over with. And I feel the same from watching Wyoming's offense so far. You get a 10-0 lead because you're able to control the clock. You're able to play your brand of football. You don't have to get outside of what you're comfortable with. And I think that plays directly into Wyoming's hands. So I think that's really the key for Colorado, is not letting Wyoming get out early and play their brand of football.
Well, what's crazy when you say that is here, people would say 10 points. Shoot, they'll take 10 points. I mean, against 2 FBS programs so far this year, Wyoming scored 16 total points. So it just has not clicked yet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man, we've heard those words.
Yeah.
And then we showed up and down.
Wasn't clicking for Houston yet either.
Yeah, it wasn't clicking for Houston. I think it depends on, here's going in with CU. We don't know the starting quarterback. We don't know if we're going to run the ball this week or we're not going to commit to running. There's so much unknown. I hate to be, because now this makes this game a must win. Hey, we literally have to win this game for the season. But with so much unknown, and I'm sitting there looking, I'm watching you guys' defense, and I'm like, man, this team's got a really good defense. Like this can be a really good defense. Uh it's a pick'em game for me, and it's wild how to say it because it's like, we just don't know. There's so much uncertainty on our side. Like,
Yeah.
like I said, we don't know the quarterback. You guys don't even know who the quarterback's going to be. So who you're
Well,
preparing for?
gun to head, who do you think starting under center, or who do you think should start under center tomorrow?
Well, it should be Caden Salter for certain. Caden Salter should have never been taken out ever. He should have played every single snap this season. If Staub starts, hey, you guys start celebrating early. If Caden Salter starts and they use him correctly, he's just extremely dangerous with what he at Liberty in 2023 threw for almost 3,000, ran for 1,000. Like I said, 44 touchdowns. Like, he is a weapon, but a weapon's useless if you don't use it correctly. Now, I don't even like the fact they haven't announced a starter because quarterback is such there's two positions you don't play with the confidence with, and that's quarterback and kicker.
Sure.
You need to, as a head coach, publicly back your quarterback 100%. So it can't be, we're going to see him play this week and then see what happens. You have to say, hey, this is our starter. Quarterbacks have bad games. He hasn't yet, but just in general in football, quarterbacks have bad games. Yeah. So if he does have a bad game, you can't say, oh, yeah, now we're not playing it. That's not what Josh Allen had some terrible games at Wyoming. I mean, 5 interception games. Yeah. And they kept backing him, kept developing him, and now he's a Super Bowl or NFL MVP. Like, that's what it means to be a leader as a head coach and lead your team, not just say, okay, well, it's whoever's the hot hand. You don't do hot hand at quarterback.
What does it do to the player? What does it do to a player on a roster when you don't? They obviously know who the quarterback's going to be, but what does it do to a player on a roster when they're playing musical chairs with that position?
It splits up the locker room. It splits up the locker room. It divides the locker room amongst players saying, okay, I like this quarterback. I like this quarterback. But then on top of that, it divides players as far as the coaching. Some might agree with the coaching. A lot aren't going to agree with the coaching. So you're not having that cohesiveness that is so important for a team's success because you're playing those musical chairs, and we're going into week 4 of the season. Like, that's I've never really been. I mean, I kind of did at Alabama A&M, but at Nevada, we had Cody Fajardo. Cody Fajardo was going to score. He's still playing in the CFL and going crazy. Like, we knew our quarterback, even if he had a bet, we all stood behind him. So when you have 3 guys, this is even a 2 quarterback.
Yeah, I think Juju Lewis might be starting against Wyoming. That's my opinion. I think they're going to start the true freshman.
I expect that to be the starter, even though I know it should be Salter. I expect it to be Juju.
Why is Salter in the doghouse?
They said he wasn't throwing downfield enough, and he wasn't accurate on scramble drill. Against Georgia Tech, I think he took 1 sack. Had no turnovers, had a great or at least good completion percentage, moved the ball effectively and efficiently. Defense gave up over 400 yards. But for some reason, Salter was the scapegoat with that. Then week 2, goes down, scores, gets the ball again, goes down, should have had 2 touchdowns in the red zone. They end up getting a field goal. So scores 10 points. First 2 series back-to-back. Only the 7th time in the Coach Prime era that's happened in Colorado where they scored on consecutive opening drives. Then gets taken out. And then they put Juju in, then they put Staub in, and then you put Salter back in late in the 3rd quarter. Mentally, I've been in a situation when I was at Nevada where I was rotating every few series. You can't get a rhythm. And then when you take a guy out for 2 quarters, then put him back in and say, go perform. He's cold. He's not. Like, there's nothing good's going to happen from that.
Didn't Colorado only score 10 points in the first half against Delaware State?
They scored 17. So they scored with about 10 seconds left on the clock after Delaware dropped a pick 6 from Staub. Easy pick 6. So, they scored off a broken coverage. But, he had all the points leading up to the last 20 seconds. And none of us know why Salter's in the doghouse, but
I completely expect it's going to be Juju Lewis to get the start. I mean, It's just my feeling. I mean, I looked at it. You gave Staub his start. You gave Salter his game. Now I feel like you're probably, because if you were gonna go with one of the other guys, I think you just name him at the beginning of the week and just roll with it. So I wouldn't be surprised if it's the true freshman. It's just chaos. Like, every game is so valuable in college football. You can't afford to. And then you be like, well, what were we doing this entire off season? Like, how come we're in week 4 and we don't know who the starting quarterback is?
Yeah.
Like
And if he had a 4 interception game week, like, yeah, okay, all right, go. Like, maybe he's not right, but yeah, no turnovers at all. Move the ball effectively. Defense gave up 400 yards, and you lost by 1 touchdown to the team that just beat Clemson.
Yeah, to a pretty damn good team.
Yeah, who has a good shot at winning the ACC.
Sure,
a very good shot. So yeah, don't understand that, but I was glad Salter didn't play last week. At all, that they didn't try to rotate him in. Like, no, this is who you said your guy was, Staub. Go ahead and see it all the way through. Yeah. So now they've seen it through. Still can't tell you what'll happen. Unfortunately. But yeah,
can't be a good. It's just not ideal at all. I don't know. I mean, do you think this has anything to do with the fact that Deion's only coached one quarterback his entire life?
I mentioned that as well. Yeah, it's shocking. Like, I've not, and you've been covering college football. I've been watching it forever. I've never seen a team during the season rotate 3 quarterbacks, not have a quarterback play the first half and then 2 play the second half. Actually rotate. You get 2 series, you get 2 series, you get 2 series. In a game that you were only up right before the last touchdown, you were up 10-7 before half, and you're rotating. Hey, it's maybe he knows something I don't know.
I think the last time Wyoming played 3 quarterbacks in a game was in 2009 in Boulder, and Wyoming lost 24-0.
Oh, that doesn't make me feel good at all.
And I can guarantee they weren't just rotating in every series.
No, it was ineffectiveness.
Yeah. Like, man,
because games like Delaware, games like Northern Iowa, that's when you get your rhythm. That's when you start to build. That's when you get your cohesiveness. Yep. So when Salter goes in and scores first 2 drives, like, that's when you start to build on that confidence and get ready for the Houstons, for the Wyomings. Not say, oh, well, we're up 10. Let's just see what happens. This is a perfect time to experiment.
It kind of screams a little bit of arrogance. Like, we like Delaware State, we're going to roll them no matter what.
Yeah. And if you watch Delaware, they had 400 yards of offense as well. It wasn't just you. Delaware had 400 yards of offense.
The turnover was in the red zone. I mean, Delaware was there.
Delaware was in the red zone 3 or 4 times. He didn't get a point.
Boy, if I fear that if it was Delaware starting quarterback and not the backup quarterback, that game would have had a different.
Yeah. The film of that game is very different than the box score. But yeah, I'm sure Wyoming is very ready to
especially with their motivated coach over there.
Yeah, especially with Flea. Yeah.
Yeah, Deion Sanders did misspell or mispronounce his name yesterday too. So.
Oh, no way! That's no way.
No, he's been very. I remember we were in camp and told Jay on the sideline that day. I was like, "Hey, Deion just came out and said that he's been battling cancer," and Jay really respects the hell out of Deion. So that was the first thing he did, was stand behind the podium first day of camp and say, our thoughts from the entire Wyoming football program are with this guy. And, he's the best to ever do it at his position. And he's an icon in this game, and a lot of respect. And you could tell Deion said all the right things yesterday too. So I think we're all excited about this regional matchup. It's not often Wyoming gets to face CU. It also gives Wyoming the rare opportunity of the first step, if you will, in becoming Colorado State champs.
That's funny.
Beating Colorado State's always the top goal, but then Air Force is just a smidge under that. And, Wyoming's backbone, I think you could say, this entire program is built on the backs of Colorado prep kids who, were overlooked by CU and CSU. And, man, they lick their chops for games like this, and it's a really big deal for these guys.
Man, that's awesome, and man, we appreciate you giving us your time, coming to join the show. make sure you follow Cody. Cody, where can everyone follow you at?
Yeah, just on Twitter at 7220 Sports, and then website. We have a free app, the whole shebang. So
awesome, man.
Appreciate you, Cody. This is great.
Yeah.
Appreciate
Thank you.
We're excited to watch this Wyoming game, and then we'll message about how it goes after.
There you go. Excited to get to Boulder, fellas. Thank you so much for having me on.
Oh awesome, man, the pleasure's ours.
Appreciate it. See you guys. Have a great day.
You too.
So that's a lot, man. That's a lot. That's an outsider who had some very similar thoughts to us with what's going on. So we'll see, man. I haven't got too deep into the film, but as you see, I've people I need to peep from them offensively. We're going to watch more. On Patreon, we're going to be having more throughout the week. May do a couple Wyoming player breakdowns that will go public to YouTube. Possibly not, but Patreon, that's where you need to be for the actual deep dives, the full breakdowns of the offense and defense. That's where you get the scouting reports before the game, so you can know exactly what to expect and have the receipts. If I don't know what I'm talking about, the scouting reports are there. I put them out, so I can't change them after they're out. So if you want to make me look like an idiot, join Patreon and look at the scouting reports. But yeah, CT, what are your final thoughts, man?
Man, after listening to Cody talk, Wyoming defense is sitting right here on my shoulder. Like, hold up. Like, and then you say, like, man, wait, the kids out there in Houston, a few of them came from Wyoming. Is Wyoming producing this stuff?
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, it's a must-win game. I think we're in a tight spot here in the sense that Wyoming just went against Utah and said, "Hey, we had these guys 3-0 until halftime." I think the team can build on that. That's what I'm saying. And saying, "Hey, if we were doing this with Utah, and what we've seen you guys struggle with in Boulder, like, I just hope CU doesn't show up and get out coached, because if Wyoming starts doing stuff that we didn't see them do."
Let's be honest. There's no game that I've seen Colorado outcoach other coaching staff. I haven't seen that. It's not even a joke, like, at all. Like, I've never seen a game. If somebody can tell me a game, not UCF either. Like, I've never seen a game that Colorado has outcoached other staff. But
and see, so that's my worry about it. Is like, if Wyoming shows up and start doing stuff that we know they specifically are doing because they're playing,
they're going to. Every football team in college football, football team in Little League football does it other than Colorado. So that's going to happen. There's no question on that. They're going to run things specifically to beat what they've seen on film from Colorado.
Man, I like the under, and I think this is going to be a close game. A lot of kids are on Wyoming from Colorado. It's going to probably be like a rivalry.
Let's wait to the film. Like, everything's good and dandy, but this is the film channel. We watch film. So we'll wait.
Well, what's your thoughts on it?
I gotta watch the film. The film is king for me. But yeah. All right. Final words, CT.
Okay, to evolve. Who's next?
Who's next? Do your words match your video? Yeah, this for my boy TKL, CT the fan. Yeah, we on that buff train, man. Yeah, the boys, they put it down. I watch them every day. Hey, they gonna put you on a pillow, but they gonna put you down there where you belong. They ain't gonna care for you. Nah, they ain't gonna care for you. Yeah, they gonna love on you. They gonna tell you what to do to get yourself better. It's on you, baby. Yeah. My boy, but that y'all keep doing y'all thing, baby.